Next, special reports and a One Network news update in Tonight. Then adoption and a birth mother's murder are the trying case for Matlock on One.
Wednesday on Counterpoint, the population explosion, contraception and the Pope. The Archbishop of Canterbury challenges the Catholic view. How long can the Church maintain its ban on birth control? Counterpoint, Wednesday at 10 on One.
For a fatal bug, a family wins its fight, but too late for their father. Making the Transition, Part 2 of Facing Changes, looks at the right attitude to aging. And Bizet's opera rises from the ashes to become a real pearl. Good evening. Health authorities in Hawke's Bay are introducing blood screening for hepatitis C. The move comes after the death of a local man infected with the killer disease through a blood transfusion. Meanwhile, the government's trying to find the money for a national hepatitis C screening program. Spiro Anastasiou has the story.
66-year-old Fred Welsh died last month after developing cirrhosis of the liver, the result of hepatitis C, contracted through a blood transfusion. Very little donated blood is screened for hepatitis C, and while the Minister of Health has made a budget request for more funds, Hawke's Bay is the latest health board which says it just can't wait. For Mr Welsh's daughter and wife, it's cold comfort.
We felt anger and grief, shock, disbelief really that in New Zealand this happens.
Once you've got it, it's just too late. You've actually put your death cap out on, really.
In Hawke's Bay, there's already one other confirmed case like Mr Welsh's. The Area Health Board is now checking on others who may have received contaminated blood and is providing medical backup.
We are hopefully now taking steps to follow up and offer treatment to all the other persons who might have been infected.
Testing for hepatitis C is common in most countries, but at $8 a test, it's expensive. To Fred Welsh's family, it's money that must be found.
The parents of a Christchurch girl have laid a formal complaint over the treatment of their 3-year-old daughter. Samantha Keane was taken to Christchurch Hospital's accident and emergency with a sore leg. She was treated for bruising and sent home. But days later, a GP discovered Samantha's leg was broken. It was a rare feeling for the Bank of New Zealand today. The bank has turned in a multi-million-dollar profit. The recovery has taken a lot of years and a lot of taxpayers' money. And as Ewart Barnsley reports, that recovery may have just primed the BNZ for an imminent sell-off.
Not quite Hollywood. The slideshow was the closest BNZ executives came to illustrating the bank's rag-to-riches success. Bad lending decisions back in the 80s helped drive the BNZ into the red last year. But today, a spectacular turnaround, a profit of $171 million. Executives were keen to talk about that, but they were shy about the sale of the BNZ.
I think that you would recognise, as we all do, that the question of a shareholder selling his shares is a private matter between him and those who are buying his shares. Whether there's any involvement here, I guess can't comment.
Our job as management of the bank is to manage the bank, and that's what we've done.
But you are in the business.
And we're here today to discuss. No, it's totally inappropriate for professional managers to be making that sort of judgment call.
The government is the BNZ's biggest shareholder. A likely buyer of its stake is National Australia, the most profitable bank across the Tasman. National Australia is reportedly willing to pay well over $1 billion. The chairman did concede today's big profit would help to sell the bank.
Hopefully, if that's the case, yeah.
The government's hard up for money. It says it wants to sell this piece of family silver quickly. But it's not known what that sale will mean for small-time investors with a BNZ stake.
Petrol prices are on the rise tonight. From midnight, Mobil's wholesale price of petrol and diesel goes up 2 cents a litre. The increase follows a 2-month slide in our exchange rate and a steady increase in crude oil prices. Other oil companies are reviewing their prices. Members of the Newmagin family in Hawke's Bay head to Thailand tomorrow. They'll attend Ian Newmagin's funeral there. Today, the family received autopsy results which confirmed Ian died accidentally in Bangkok's riots last week. David Jameson reports.
It was the news the Newmagins were waiting to hear.
There was one shot. It was not at close range. It entered in the back of the neck, and we presume that Ian was killed instantly. Secondly, that there were no other injuries found other than injuries to the face, which would be consistent in falling on the ground.
The autopsy disproves reports over the weekend Ian Newmagin was deliberately executed by Thai soldiers. But other reports of deliberate shootings of protesters during last week's riots continue to surface. Max Newmagin and 3 other family members are due to fly out to Bangkok tomorrow to attend their brother's 3-day-long funeral. They're relieved to have found out finally how Ian died, although it doesn't make his loss any easier to bear.
Across the Tasman, Greenpeace launched an offensive against America and its role at next week's Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. Greenpeace Australia says America's poor environmental record should make George Bush persona non grata at the Rio conference. Peter Harvey reports.
President George Bush was the centrepiece of the protest.
The United States is producing 25% of the world's greenhouse gases.
Branded a hypocrite for attending next week's Save the Earth environmental summit in Brazil, while the United States remains the main contributor to global warming.
Sorry, no violence, please.
The US Embassy in Canberra was the prime target. Protesters clashing with hastily summoned police reinforcements in a charge on the main gate. Guards and embassy officials tried unsuccessfully to stop demonstrators chaining themselves to the main gate. Police had more luck in holding back a large cage containing more chained and padlocked people.
Further, right? Certainly, officer.
Once a large Statue of Liberty had been installed, Greenpeace turned its attention to Australia's failure to send a head of government to Rio. Guards moved quickly when protesters tried to scale the embassy's 3-metre fence. 6 people arrested and charged with trespass. The demonstration ended when police brought in powerful metal cutters to snap open the Greenpeace prison cell and cut the other protesters from the fence.
Earth Summit 92, deeds, not words.
The demonstrations in the other capitals were colourful and peaceful. Outside the US consulate in Sydney, America was accused of dicing with the Earth's future.
Christchurch police are testing an aerial assault on crime in Canterbury and on the South Island's west coast. A Polish-built light aircraft called a Wilga is the new crime-busting weapon. Police say it can do 80% of the work currently carried out by helicopters, but at a fraction of the cost of a chopper. The government's given the go-ahead for the new $280 million National Museum. It'll take 8 years to build on its Wellington waterfront site. The project's expected to generate 1,000 jobs. The Wizard of Christchurch is about to go where no living work of art has ever gone before. Australia, and he's doing it without a passport. The Wizard refuses to carry one, so immigration officials on both sides, hard to believe this, of the Tasman have bent the rules to let his immortalness make the trip using an identification document instead. Back on Earth, the touring Irish rugby side bounced back from Saturday's defeat today. Ireland took a comfortable 22-7 win over a Poverty Bay East Coast combined side. That takes Ireland's tour tally to 3 wins from 5 games, going into this weekend's first test. Coming up, preaching economic blasphemy to join the boom in Asia. A successful expatriate urges the government to forget the level playing field approach. And part 2 of Facing Changes looks at retirement, attitudes, and a new role in later life.
My best birthday was my 50th birthday. That was the year I bought myself a windsurfer.